These are the test corrections for the Chapter 5 9 test for geometry. This was on May 8th, 2015. Number 1, which three lengths could be the lengths of the sides of a triangle? This is on previous week's quiz. Essentially, that's the triangle inequality. If you add two sides of a triangle, it must be greater than the third side. So the key part is which three could be. So the question is, yes, it is. So notice how if I do in A, I just chose 12 and 5. If I add those two, it's not greater than 17. So that means it's not a triangle. Same thing with C. 9 plus 11 is not greater than 22. Therefore, these three lengths are not a triangle. Same thing with D. In B, all three of these combinations of adding two sides must be greater than the third one. Makes sense. Therefore, the answer is B. Question number 2, which shows the construction of a perpendicular bisector? I showed you guys a video in class. That's choice number 1. Question number 3, which statement is not necessarily true? So not true means false. So we're looking for the statement that's false. Notice how you should be able to go through all three other multiple choices and realize those are true, so that the last one is false. K is the midpoint of JL. So if I know that DE is the perpendicular bisector, here's the knife. Perpendicular means right angles. It's also a bisector, which means K is the midpoint. These sides are congruent, which means that D is on the perpendicular bisector, which means it's equidistant to the endpoints. So let's look at C. K is the midpoint of JL. So here's JL. K is in the middle. I have those marks. That is true. DJ is equal to DL. DJ is equal to DL. I have my congruent marks because they're equidistant. That is true. DE, the line DE, is perpendicular or makes right angles with JL. There's my right angles. That is true. And DK is equal to KE. Well, notice I don't have any congruent marks. K is the midpoint going in this direction, but we don't know for that one, so this one is false. Therefore, your answer is A. Remember, it's 2 points apiece for multiple choice. Number 14. Q is equidistant from the sides of angle TSR. So here's TSR, and Q is equidistant. So they already had hash marks there, but I'll just bolden them. I also noticed that it's I have these marks here, which tells me if this Q is equidistant to the sides and it's measured perpendicularly, that means that SQ here is an angle bisector. Angle bisector means that these two angles are equal to each other. Find the value of X. The diagram is not to scale. So if I know that these are congruent or equals, I can just set them equal to each other and solve. X is equal to 3. Choice B. That was the same question from last week's quiz. Question number 5. It says the measure of angle A is 9x minus 7, measure of angle B is 7x minus 9, and the measure of angle C is 28 minus 2x. List the sides of triangle ABC in order from shortest to longest. So I'm going to draw a triangle ABC, and I'm going to fill in the information I have those angles. Notice that those are angle measures, the measure of the angle, so which means I can use triangle sum theorem. Blank plus blank equals 180 degrees. Combine like terms, 9x, 7x, and negative 2x, that gives me 14x. And negative 7 and negative 9 and a positive 28 gives me a positive 12. Subtract 12. Whoa, let's try that again. Negative 16 gives me positive 12. So I should subtract 12, huh? Let's see. I subtract 12. That'll give me 8, so 168. And that means 15 goes into x once. And 14 goes in at 12. So x is equal to 12. If x is equal to 12, I can substitute those into each of my angle measures. So x equals to 12. This gives me This angle is 4 degrees. If I put in 12, that gives me 84 minus 9 is 75. And 12 times 9 is 18, extra 1 is 108, so it gives me 101. So I'm going to write those angle measures over here. I'm writing the angle measures from least to greatest, 4, 75, and 101. And now it tells me about the side. So triangle inequality says if I don't know anything about the side lengths, I can look at the angle measures. So opposite of 4 degrees is side AB, so that's the smallest. Opposite of AC would be 75. So 75 degrees going opposite would be side AC. And opposite of 101 degrees is side BC, so that's the largest. Across the largest angle gives the largest side, and across the smallest angle gives us the smallest side. Okay, question number 6. This is on last week's quiz too. What can you say about the figure below in which BE is the perpendicular bisector of AC? So BE is the perpendicular bisector. So I can draw a box all the way around. Here's my perpendicular bisector. I also know it's measured equidistant to the endpoints. So AB, I know that's 20 because this side is 20, but the congruent marks. DC is equal to 8 because I have the congruent marks there. AC is 16. That's true because this is 8 and this is also 8, so I get a 16. Therefore, it's all of these. Choice D. Question number 7. In triangle XYZ, XY is 8, so I put 8 there. XC is 14. What measure cannot be YZ? So this is YZ, and I'm going to use triangle inequality. So I'm going to add 2 sides of the triangle, and it must be greater than the third side. So 8 plus 14, that's 22. 8 plus YZ must be greater than 14. Subtract 8, YZ is greater than 6. And over here I have 14 plus YZ is greater than 8. When I subtract 14, you get negative 6. Now you can't have a side that's greater than negative 6. So I'm crossing off that one. Now I can make these two a compound inequality. WZ is in the middle, 6 is on the left, 22 is on the right. So smallest and largest numbers, one's on the left, one's on the right. And then I just follow my inequalities. This is pointing towards the 6. And here this one's pointing towards the YZ. So that means I need numbers that are between, numbers that are greater than 6 but also less than 22. Well, all of these numbers meet that criteria. So does this one. 6 is not greater than 6. Which measure cannot be YZ? So I can't put an 8 there. I mean, sorry, 6. So the answer is A. Question number 8 asks you to simplify the radicals 80. Remember, the largest perfect square is 16 is one of its factors. 16 times 5, the square root of 16 is 4. That 4 comes out. Your answer is 4 radical 5. Remember, you can also do that through choosing by 2's, and you might see that factoring tree inside there. Factors of 40 are 2 times 20. So 2, 2. Factors of 20 are 4 and 5. I have a pair there. They can come out. That's 2. Square root of 4 is also 2. 2 times 2 is 4. And what's left inside is 5. 4 radical 5 is your answer. Question number 6. The figure above, what is SP? So same thing. This is an angle bisector. I know it's an angle bisector because I see these congruent arcs there, which means that this line here is the angle bisector, which tells us that it's measured perpendicularly and these are congruent. If they're congruent, I can set them equal to each other. Subtract x, add 3 to both sides, x is equal to 3. Choice G. Question number 10. Multiple choice. The lengths of the legs of a right triangle are given. So if it's a right triangle, that means I know that I can use Pythagorean theorem because I have 2 sides of the triangle, right? So c squared equals a squared plus b squared. Just do your substitutions. I already knew it was 13, so 12 squared plus 5 squared. This is going to give us 144 plus 25. C squared equals 169. When you take the square root, you're going to get c is equal to positive or negative 13. Remember, you only take a positive length, therefore c is equal to 13. Number 11, name the side lengths from least to greatest. And in order to do that, you're going to have to complete the triangle sum theorem. All three interior angles of a triangle add up to be 180. You'll find that the measure of angle M is 120. I list out my angle measures from least to greatest, 25, 35, and 120. And you go across to find side length. Small angle means small side. Middle angle, middle side. Largest angle, largest side. I took off a point for every one that you got wrong. Question number 12, solve the inequality AB plus AC is greater than BC. So you just take the value, so this is AB, so substitute in there, AB. AC, 6x plus 8, and BC is 3x plus 18. Combine like terms on this side, so that's 8x. Negative 5 and a positive 8 gives me a positive 3. I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. That gives me 5x. Subtract 3 from both sides. That gives me 15. Divided by 5, x is greater than 3. Remember, you don't need to flip the inequality sign unless you multiply or divide by negative. I also took off a point if you left the inequality as an equal sign. Question number 13, trapezoid JKLM is shown below. JKLM. Sorry, letters got cut off a little bit. If the length of the altitude in the trapezoid is 8 centimeters, there's 8 centimeters, it's an altitude. We didn't go over the vocabulary word, it just essentially means that it's a measured perpendicular, which means it's a right angle. What is the length of leg KL? So we did a problem similar in class, but I had another triangle over here. So if you know this is 9 and this is 8, that means in this rectangle, this is 9. Well, if this has to be 9, and I need something to be added together to be 15, well, that's 6. So now I have a right triangle that has length sides 6 and 8. You're essentially solving LK is your hypotenuse. We know it's the hypotenuse because it's across the right angle. That's your C value always in the Pythagorean theorem. Do your substitutions. So I get 8 squared is 64. 6 squared is 36. Let's get 100. Take the square root, and that's 10. LK is 10. Question number 14, same exact question from last week's quiz. B is the midpoint of AC, and D is the midpoint of CE. So that essentially tells you that BD is the mid segment. The equation you needed was base equals 2 times the mid segment. If you wrote that equation down and gave you 2 points, then you just do your substitutions. Well, this is your base, and this is your mid segment. Students are making common mistakes like not distributing. So I get 10x plus 6, subtract 4x, minus 6 from both sides, you get 12, x is equal to 2. Just tells you to solve for x. Question number 15. Jameson and Inoki drew triangle EFG with FG to be 13 and EF to be 5. They each chose a possible measure for GE. There's Jameson, there's Inoki. Who is wrong, who is right, and explain your reasoning. So essentially this problem is measuring triangle inequality. It's triangle inequality because you're trying to figure out if the triangle is possible. The common mistake is that students thought the students were trying to solve for the third side based on Pythagorean theorem. But some student noted that it's not Pythagorean theorem because there is no right triangle and I already have all 3 sides. Pythagorean theorem works if you have 2 sides, you're trying to find the third one. So for Jameson, what I did is I'm going to add 2 sides of the triangle. It must be greater than the third side. I did that, and all of them are true. For Inoki, I did that, and I noticed that one of them is wrong. So James is right, and Inoki's wrong. Here's my explanation for my reasoning. James correctly recognized the sum of two sides must be greater than the third side. Right? 13 plus 5, that's greater than 10. 13 plus 10, greater than 5. 10 plus 5, greater than 13. But for Inoki, I recognize 13 plus 8 is greater than 5, yes. 5 plus 13, greater than 8, yes. 5 plus 8, greater than 13, no. 13 is equal to 13, not greater than. Inoki is wrong because this basically represents that her length that she picked was not a triangle. Questions out of 4 points. We gave 2 points for recognizing that James was correct and Inoki was wrong, and then 2 points for the explanation. Question number 16. In the diagram ABC below, AB is 10, AC is 14, and AC is 16. So mark up your picture. Find the perimeter of the triangle formed by connecting the midpoints. It doesn't say find the perimeter of triangle ABC. It says find the perimeter of the midpoints, and those are the questions we did in class. Well, what's a midpoint? Between A and B you have this point, between B and C you have this point, and between A and C you have this point. Therefore, these are called mid-segments. Remember, the base is equal to, the mid-segment is equal to 2 times the base. So if this is 10, that's 5. This is 14, that's 7. This is 16, that's 8. And then 7 plus 5 plus 8 gives me a perimeter of 20. We had a more thorough explanation in last week's quiz correction video. And the last question, number 17. Number 17 says, refer to the figure below. If EF is 5x plus 6, marked on my diagram, AC there is 3x minus 2, then what is the length of BF? Well, I recognize I first need to find the value of x, so my equation is base equals 2 times the mid-segment. My mid-segment in here is 3x minus 2, and the base here is 5x plus 6. Distribute, subtract 5x, add 4 to both sides, you get x equals 10. But x is equal to 10, but it's asking me what is the length of BF. So if you got here, I gave you 3 points. You just need to substitute in. So EF is 5x plus 6, and once I find that length, I'll just cut it in half so I can find BF. So EF is equal to 2 times BF. EF is 5x plus 6. Substitute in 10. Multiply and add. I get 56 equals 2 times BF. Cut that in half. BF is equal to 28.